How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing: always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid, which was able to pull off a green day even though we had a red day in the overall markets. They also did provide an update in regards to guidance for their deliveries. We'll talk about that. But of course, I want to make sure you guys are prepared going into Thursday. I won't waste any more time. So if you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description because I value your time. So we're going to be taking a look at the charts. We're going to be taking a look at the short interest. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts. So let's get into those videos right now. So we're going to take a look at the chart for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $13.09, being up 3.48%. On the low, it tested $12.61, and then on the high, testing $13.50. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 22.771 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 17.815 million shares. So we had above average volume on the day, and of course we saw some strength in the stock. Now when we take a look at our chart, which is our daily chart, what we could see, Lucid was able to give us a higher low and as well as a higher high, so that is a good sign. We saw resistance at $13.50, and we have the 9 EMA, which is at $13.60. So what do we want to see? We want to see a break above the 9 EMA, and in the next level, which we've pointed out in previous videos, is right here around $14.26. Keep in mind that Lucid does have a gap that needs to be filled right here at $14.31. So if it could fill in that gap, then of course that puts us right where we have the 21 EMA, which is at $14.37. And if we're able to hold that area, that's where you want to see that move going to $15. So please add those levels to your homework. Now, as far as for the downside is concerned, we tested the low at $12.61. So if we have a break below this level, the next area where we want to see some strength is right where we have our 52-week low at $12.20, which we were there yesterday. So you want to keep that in mind. A break below this level can send Lucid all the way down, not only to testing that $12 area. Again, we don't know where support could actually show up, but it could come down into the 11s before we have buyers wanting to step in. But of course, it's going to be dependent on the data that's going to be coming out tomorrow. I'll talk about that later in the video. So at least you know what it looks like to the upside and as well as for the downside. So let's move on to the short interest. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings for the 12th, we have Haran Securities Inc. that purchased 685 shares. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 63.71%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 5.67 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 100, updated 5 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 6.05%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 10th, it is at 61.27, and then for the close of the 11th being at 63.71. So it did go up a bit, and then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 21.54%, Lucid does continue to have short squeeze potential. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, before we start talking about the price action, let's talk about the news that came out today. So they ended up reaffirming their production targets in regards to vehicles. The goal for 2022 is between 6,000 and 7,000 vehicles, and they say that they are on track to actually reach that goal. So of course this gives investors a lot of confidence, and the reason why it was able to pull off a green day when we saw a red day in the overall markets. But with that said, in regards to the price action, we ended up seeing a high of $13.50. So the key level that you want to see Lucid getting to is above $13.60. If we gain that momentum, that's where we want to look out for to get to at least around $14 and then seeing what it would do from there. As far as for the downside is concerned, we ended up having a low of the day right around $12.61. And I believe this is really good. But if we break below that level, then we know that we could retest the low from the previous day around $12.20. And if we break that level, then of course we want to see $12 hold up. So now you know those levels to the upside and as well as for the downside. So come up with a game plan that is right for you and pay attention to the market conditions. It is very important. And And then when we took a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. Plus, on top of that, we do have CPI numbers that are going to be coming out tomorrow. And knowing that this impacts the overall market, knowing those levels will help you come up with a trading plan. So make sure that you're taking notes. And as far as for my investors out there, I'll be watching this stock very closely. The good thing is that the company is delivering on its goals. So make sure you do your research and do your homework if you're thinking about adding to your position or you're thinking about building a position. Like I've said in the previous video, it is very close to its SPAC price, which is at 10 bucks. So buying in that $12 range is not bad when you take that into consideration. So the fact that it's back into that $13 area is good to see, but we can continue to have volatility in the markets, and I want to make sure you're in the know about that. So I hope you found this video helpful, and let's see what the stock does going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.